Hello, Colts Nation, and what is up, No Horse and Family? Oh, welcome back to another episode of the No Horse Around podcast. I missed you guys. As always, we are powered by our amazing sponsor, WagerWire. WagerWire is a one-of-a-kind revolutionary sports betting app, as you guys know. Hopefully, you guys maybe could use it when the app drops next year for March Madness because you can get in and out of parlays, in and out of future bets, all the way up to the moment that it comes, all the way up to the moment that you think it's going to bust. It's amazing. Go check them out at WagerWire on Twitter. Go to wagerwire.com. Drop your email address in and kind of be on the lookout for that app. Over the dead period coming up, when we get through the draft, we're going to actually have someone on from WagerWire to explain it to you guys a little bit more, and hopefully you guys can take advantage of it. But man, oh man, did I miss you guys. Been taking care of some personal things. Zach really holding down the fort for me, letting me kind of take that breather that was needed. Some personal things with my daughter, my wife. I love you. My wife is actually over in South Korea right now for another week. She's been over there for a week. We'll be gone for 2 weeks. So had to kind of take care of some stuff here. But wanted to jump on here with you guys and discuss the fact that the pro days are over, right? The pro days, the biggest ones for the Colts are over, right? So we've got C.J. Stroud was over. We sent an area scout. Bryce Young, we sent an area scout. And then really the two ones that we really have been keeping a closer eye on, Will Levis's, and then most recently today, Anthony Richardson's was done. Man, as the title says, who will the Indianapolis Colts select? We think that it's between a few of them. And even in the title, you guys are going to hear there is a third one that a lot of people have talked about that we're going to kind of delve into, and that's Hendon Hooker. But let's kind of break some of this down, right? So let's kind of go person by person a little bit. Let's start with the hottest name that we know of, right? Let's start with Anthony Richardson. Y'all remember we did a video not long ago breaking down kind of the tinfoil hat conspiracy theory of the Colts targeting him. We talked about the plane in Gainesville, right? We talked about that weird non-answer about did he talk to them at the combine, right? Now you also have a couple other pieces that get floated out there. Stephen Holder followed him at the combine, did a piece on him, about his experiences at the combine, and then even discussed afterwards on JMV and local radio that he gets the sense they really like him. They've done a ton of research. You guys know we've also discussed that more than likely it looks like 3 to 4 games they sent scouts to this past season at Florida to watch Anthony Richardson. So they've really, really delved in to Anthony Richardson. And then the news today at his combine, at his pro day, he did what everyone thought he would do. He's a freak athlete. He threw it out of the building. He hit the roof of his, which I thought was kind of interesting because when asked about it, he said the reason he did it was he wanted, Will did it. Will Levis did it, and he wanted to do it too. Interesting too, we've tweeted out a short video of him throwing those 30-yard darts from his butt. We know that's not a big thing, but bigger is when you see him roll around and it's like a flick of the wrist that goes 50 yards. Like he's got an arm. He's got an amazing arm. But the biggest news really to come out of his pro day wasn't really anything that he did, right? It was who was there for the Colts. So for those who don't know, NFL Network caught a snapshot, and a lot of people were saying, hey, there's a Colts scout. That was not a scout. That was Morocco Brown, okay, who is like third in charge. Like it's a big deal. At all the other pro days, Levis's, Stroud's, we sent our local area scouts to those pro days. And Morocco Brown shows up to Anthony Richards' pro day. And you can say, oh, it's a coincidence. I've had some interactions on Twitter with some people saying, well, maybe it's just a rotation. So the way for those who are not fully in the know, you have Chris Ballard, Ed Dodds, and Morocco Brown. Okay. That's the order in which the front office sits. So you don't send Chris Ballard because you don't want to give the tip. You don't really send Ed Dodds maybe because you don't want to give the tip. But Morocco Brown is high up, highly respected inside that front office. Like that's so it's something. It is definitely something that he was at this. So you have all that for Anthony Richardson, right? It's very likely. I was talking to Zach off air. We were talking on my way home today, telling him I was going to get back on and talk to you guys tonight. And even he has said, he's like, man, I think everyone's kind of coming around that it looks like it's shaping up to be Anthony Richardson. But what about these other two quarterbacks, right? You got Will Levis, who I think is the other logical choice. Y'all know I'm a Levis fan. I like Will Levis. I think, he is, I think he gets a really bad rap. He hit the roof of the ceiling during his pro day and everyone kind of mocked him. Anthony Richardson does it, and it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, right? You guys have heard me say on Twitter, if you follow me, at Stephen Burton 86, that you only see the highlights for Richardson, you only see the low lights for Levis. I've said that I think it's because he's put mayonnaise in his coffee before he's ate a banana with the peel on. And then he played at Kentucky. I think there are people that just don't like him. A lot of people compare him to Carson Wentz. I think I compared him to Jay Cutler at one point too. He looked great. I think he could operate the system that Shane Steichen wants very effectively, very efficiently. I'm going to steal a line from what Zach and I talked about, which is I think the differentiating factor is if you're sitting at 4, if him and Richardson are there and they can both, let's assume they both hit their ceiling. Richardson feels like the guy who changes the game completely for everybody. That doesn't mean that Levis is a bad quarterback, right? Like Levis is still a very good quarterback. I would still personally be very happy if they selected him. I would. I think he can operate that system. I think he's much more mobile. I think, yes, there are excuses, but they're excuses for a reason because they're real on how badly and how poorly he played last year. So he looked good. He's packed on a lot of muscle. Go check out the pictures. It's insane what he looks like. He's healthy. We know he's coming in for a top 30 visit with the Colts. We know Anthony Richardson was coming in for a top 30 visit. And then the final one that we're going to talk about is Hendon Hooker because he's gained a ton of steam. We know he's coming in for a top 30 visit as well. Y'all do know, trace it back long enough, I'm a big Hendon Hooker guy. I've joked that I'm going to love whoever it is. Hendon Hooker at 4, I don't know. Like that's a tough thing. But what's gained a lot of steam lately too is could the Colts go best player available at 4? Will Anderson, somewhere along those lines, and then trade back into the first round and get Hendon Hooker? Or could they trade out of 4, go back and get Hendon Hooker? I hate this argument. I feel like it's a lazy argument because I feel like it's a lazy take to assume that you can trade out of 4 and go back to, let's say, 16 or 20, pick up extra picks and still get Hendon Hooker is asinine to me. And I've told Zach this and I've told other people this, is that my issue with that is that you're assuming that one of these many quarterback needy teams that are behind you aren't going to take him. It's lazy to think that you can just trade back and get him. He's gained a ton of steam. He's going to be a first round pick. He's going to be a late first round pick more than likely. But to assume that you can just go back, that no one else likes him like you do, and you can get all, you can have your cake and eat it too. You can get the picks and get the quarterback. It's lazy and I don't like it. I don't think they're going to do that. It feels very Ballard-like, but I also believe that if Ballard doesn't take a quarterback at 4, I think Jim Irsay may bash his head in with one of his guitars inside the draft room. Like I've said all along, I feel like that there has been a mandate that you take a quarterback at 4. You better find the one that you like. If you like them all, that's great. Then take one. But I feel like Irsay has told him you're taking a quarterback this year. And I feel like it's been doubled down on numerous times by the fact that Irsay keeps talking about the young quarterback we're going to get, the young quarterback we're going to get, right? Oh, Lamar's special. I don't really want to do a fully guaranteed contract, and we want to have a guy who we can build around for the next 10 to 15 years. Everything has been put to the point that it's going to be a rookie quarterback. So if you sit here now and I'm looking and I say Anthony Richardson, Hendon Hooker, Will Levis, all 3 are available at 4. Man, I feel like where there's smoke, there's fire. I think it's going to be Anthony Richardson. And I'll be okay with it. I've tooted the horn for Will Levis, but I think it's probably going to end up being Anthony Richardson. And I can hear some of the guys now. Basel, I know you're going to be here. I know you're going to say something to me about the fact that I'm saying it's Anthony Richardson. But it just looks like it's pointing that way. It really does. And here's a little hot take here at the end. He ain't sitting for the year if they draft him, you guys. He's starting day one probably, and they're gonna let him take his lumps, and that's what they're gonna do. So I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear you guys blow it up in the chat. These three dudes are available sitting there at 4. Who do you think the Colts are going to take? Who impressed you the most in the pro day? Who impressed you the most at the combine? I know that Hendon Hooker didn't do any of these. So let's trace it back again. Who impressed you the most last season? Because here's the thing. I may have said it's Anthony Richardson, but he damn sure didn't impress me the most last season, right? Hendon Hooker did. And then I would go a tie between Anthony Richardson because on tape, Anthony Richardson has the wow plays, but he doesn't have a lot more. So who impresses you the most? Who do you want to see pick? I want to hear from you guys. Light us up in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. I miss talking to you guys. We're going to get some more content out next week. Until then, you guys, I love you. I know Zach loves you. I'm out. Go Colts.